Hello interwebs, welcome to Let's Build Computers. We're starting a new gaming rig build today. So this is a client spec computer and they've got some really tasty components in here. We've got a Gaming Pro carbon motherboard paired with another MSI GTX 1070. We'll take a look at both of these while we're doing this build, and we're putting that together with an i5, plenty of RAM, an SSD, water cooling and all the other good stuff. This is all going into an NZXT H440 mid-tower case. So let's get cracking. Okay, so we're doing this build in another H440, which is a case we've seen a lot of lately on this channel. However, this one, the customers selected the black version with no window, which is a bit of an unusual choice. However, I kind of like it. It's got a bit of a stealth bomber look to it. It's just matte black all over. And although we're lacking a window on the side panel, they have put soundproofing in its place. So with the soundproofing on this side and this normal soundproofing that you get on the other side of the H440, combined with the water cooling we've got here, this thing is going to be completely silent. So it's going to be a very, very quiet build, this one. Okay, so as with all of the builds, we start out with a little bit of prep work just by tidying up the case, making sure the standoffs are in the right place, and putting in the back panel for the motherboard. Now we'll drop the motherboard in place and then we'll start fitting in the power supply, and that will give us a rough idea on how everything is going to go together in this thing. Look at this black case, black motherboard. This thing really is a stealth bomber. It's going to be so quiet as well. I love these standoffs where you have that little peg in the middle, which just means the motherboard just sits in place without you screwing it in. So now I just know that's firmly lined up and all the screws just drop in without me having to hold it in with 3 hands. Okay, right, power supply goes in, CX650M, only power supply this thing's ever going to need. Nice big 54 amp single 12 volt rail on this power supply, which on its own can deliver 650 watts. Very affordable, very high power, and surprisingly quiet as well. Still not quite as quiet as the mighty RM650X, but all the Corsair power supplies are decently quiet, except for the TX series. Don't ever buy a TX. Horrible power supplies. I've got one in the workstation that's recording this. I despise it. This might look a little bit undersized, however, most people are comparing that versus something like a H100i, which is actually a very oversized cooler. This thing will be easily capable of handling an i5, could probably handle an i7 fairly happily as long as you didn't have a bonkers overclock on it. However, it does come with a really crap fan. This is a fan of disappointment. It's just brushless fan. This is, no. We might have to use this one, but I've probably got a nicer fan in my back room that I will fit in preference to that one, in all honesty. So before we screw that fan in place, before we screw the radiator in place, we're going to mount a fan on it. I've got a spare Corsair. This isn't an SP120, but it's close. It's certainly a lot better than the one that comes with the H55. So I'm going to be a bro and give this guy a fan upgrade. I'm going to include that in the build cost because I'm a bro and because I'm not putting tap fans inside this thing. Okay, so that's our water cooling fitted. Now I've mounted the water cooling radiator right up at the top here, which has put it nice and out of the way because the 120mm rads aren't the prettiest things in the world. So I've deliberately put that up out here where it's out of sight. So now we've just got the two hoses coming in. We have got a pair of 140mm fans to fit, and what I'm actually going to do is put the 140mm fans at the top and then relocate this to the back of the case. However, because I'm also shooting the review of this motherboard, I'm temporarily putting that up here out of the way so we can leave the motherboard nice and on show. So this will be moved about a bit later on, but I'm doing it this way just for the purposes of the review. Okay, it's time for the super tasty bit. MSI GTX 1070. Okay, so that's our graphics card in. We've got all the major components now. So we're going to put the drives in the back and get in the extra power cables for the graphics and things like that. And then we're ready to power this thing up. So, up we go again. Now this is a mistake I always make when I'm building in the H440. If you've got a modular power supply, it's really hard. It's really hard to get your modular cables into the back of the power supply once you've done all of this. So pro tip, plan which modular cables you need before you put the power supply in, because it's a pain in the ass to do this now. Beautiful. We're all hooked up. It's time to close up. Okay, right, it's the moment of truth for the turn on for here. So power at the back, on, and power at the top. Go. There we go. MSI boards always take a long time to do that first run. Okay, let's F2 and let's just see that no boot device found. There we go. Okay, right, so our build is complete. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get Windows installed on this thing. Okay, so here is our finished build. It's very black and it's very quiet and it's going to be very quick. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye for now.